It's finally time. Karmaslayer is here. Oh man, I'm excited. Let's do this. Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Corner here, and welcome back to the channel. So we are over on the creator test server to check out Karmaslayer. Now, I have a lot of videos that will be coming out over the next couple of days, but the first video I wanted to release to you guys is just an overview of how the class actually works, the class mechanics, because I am seeing some people release some content, and I'm noticing that some things are being skipped. And since I had some time over on CN, and I basically sat down and read through every single skill the class has. I know, reading, crazy, right? I'm starting to find out that there are some things that are interesting, some things that might be a little concerning, and some things I'm really looking forward to. But let's go ahead and just jump directly into this. I don't even know how to segue this one. I just want to play the class. So in case you're anyone who's curious about testing and how that all works out as far as testing goes, the TLDR is crit weapon. It's the better choice for literally everyone, I think, other than like Warlock. I have not seen anything that's shown the other weapon, the elemental weapon, to be better at the moment. So crit weapon. We're testing Divinity as well as tested Sunflame. Spoiler alert, they're actually fairly close. So if you really just don't like Divinity, you can go Sunflame, but Divinity did pretty well. I can't give, well, I could give exact numbers, but keep in mind things are subject to change. So they are within a close enough margin that any one thing could push one over the edge. And this is the testing that's done has been done outside of raid content. So just keep that in mind. So take it with a grain of salt. In a perfect scenario, Divinity does tend to edge out. Now, I'm not even that great at Divinity. Some people that are really good with it might be able to push out even more damage, but it all depends on how it is released on, you know, the full release, or at least on the 21st when Karmaslayer comes out. We also have been testing with Taboo versus with Butterfly. The TLDR is Butterfly actually has come out to be a bit better. It's mostly just because of the inscriptions we have access to. They tend to favor a little bit more over on the Butterfly side, but it also could be playstyle as well as skill use. We went through quite a bit of that when Spectre came out. We did quite a bit of that when Empirica, and I'd always forget the other version of the class, but when the Inventor came out. So just take it with a grain of salt. I'm only doing direct comparisons to each other. I'm not doing comparisons, of course, like, oh, it does, you know, XYZ amount of damage, so on and so forth, as far as we're looking at here. But this is what we tested with, in case you're curious. Also, so you guys can see the insignias. They're just basically all threes that we have for insignias. I pulled these out and put them in the other ones already, so don't worry about that. To be fair, when I tested these two out originally, I tested out without insignias. I had to go back and redo that, so that was pretty fun. The circuits are kind of trash on the test server, so we had to do a little bit of adjustment in the training area with crit rate. Basically, nothing had crit rate, and everything is rolled for electric for some strange reason. So we have a lot of electro. We have a lot of electro circuits that are, you know, middling and pretty solid, but the entire class is cryo, outside of, I think, one skill, and that's the reflected demon. And that's just, literally the explosion of going into reflected demon is umbral damage. So it's very strange how they have this set up over on the test server. But no offense to anyone else along those lines, I went through quite a bit to ensure that when we did the testing, we had enough cryo for it to actually scale off of cryo damage properly, so we wouldn't have anything that's too crazy or off on the test server versus the public server when you guys have access to it on your end. I don't think it really makes much of a difference. I think you can actually just go with whatever element you can, but I always push towards the element that the class actually utilizes, unless it is just unaspected damage for the entire thing. So just something to keep in mind here. So let's talk about Karmaslayer and how the actual class works. I'm going to say Ghostblade and Karmaslayer a lot. You're going to hear me say interchange these two. It is called Ghostblade over on CN. On global, the translation came out to Karmaslayer. So apologies, something that's going to happen quite a bit. So Karmaslayer, how does it work? What are we doing here? Something you're going to see a lot of is it's a gauge building class, right? So it's got a few main mechanics that you work with, and some that are specific to inscriptions. So you have what's called Demon Synergy. Demon Synergy is essentially a resource you build up on this meter right here. When you build up 100 Demon Synergy and you use a skill that would normally use a skill that is used for Soul Bond. I'm gonna say specifically not normally a build synergy, but something that would use for Soul Bond. You then go into the Soul Bond state. Instead of spending, instead of gaining Demon Synergy, you spend Demon Synergy to do a coordinated attack with the demon. The Sword Demon is what they call them. So when you see Soul Bond here, that means the skill can both build points for Demon Synergy and then consume them in Soul Bond to do a coordinated attack. You're going to see that a lot when you're looking at Karmaslayer. So looking at any individual skill, you're like, oh, why did they pick that? It's likely because it has Soul Bond that's attached to it, or there's another mechanic that goes along with it. I will show you guys in just a moment. There's actually 2 exceptions to the rule as far as skills go, but that's going to depend on where you are as far as your character is going to go. I don't like the skill. Some people see this like, why don't you skill charge basic attack? This class doesn't specifically need to not have its skill. If you're playing something like Spectre, I'd recommend unskilling this. That way you can hold your normal attack for the fastest attack possible. But for something like Karmaslayer, you can just spam your normal attack and you're perfectly fine. You don't have to hold it. So you can have the added benefit of being able to utilize the upward slash or downward slash, depending on where you are in your combo, for things to be a bit more smooth if you need to get move up or move down your elevation as quickly as possible. Void is just M attack. This is an M attack class. This is magic based. It's int based, so just keep that in mind. But this brings us over to Demon Control, where they start talking about the whole Demon Synergy and Soul Bond. So Karmaslayer's basic attacks or skills grant Demon Synergy, capped at 100 points. When Demon Synergy is full, casting a skill activates Soul Bond for 5 seconds. While Soul Bond is active, non-finisher skills and basic attacks cannot gain Demon Synergy, but certain skills can consume Demon Synergy to summon the Sword Demon for a coordinated attack. Each Sword Demon coordinated attack refreshes Soul Bond's duration, and when Demon Synergy reaches 0, he exits Soul Bond. So basically, any ability that has the ability to, or any skill that has the ability to generate Demon Synergy. I say that specifically because there are skills that can generate Demon Synergy that aren't usable in Soul Bond. So it's not just Soul Bond based skills, but skills that can generate Demon Synergy will generate it for you, and then any Soul Bond skills will consume the synergy and do a coordinated attack with the Sword Demon. Now, there's more to it than that, but that's kind of like the basics of how Karmaslayer works. You're going to build Demon Synergy, you're going to go into your Soul Bond, and then you're going to spend that Demon Synergy to do coordinated attacks with the Sword Demon for massive damage. That's going to be most of the reason why you pick the skills that you do. Some skills can build it, like for example, I believe, Demon Slash will generate 25 points of Demon Synergy, but as you can see, it's not a Soul Bond skill, so it doesn't actually use the Soul Bond state, so I won't go into it for you. Gathering Anchor and Spiral Slash are both very short cooldowns that deal a decent amount of damage, and they both build and spend Demon Synergy. So very, very useful skills. Love to see them, love to have them. If we continue down, you can start to see skills that we utilize. We can talk about Sync Slaying. So Sync Slaying is another mechanic. So this works out is each Sword Demon combo, basically when you're in your Soul Bond state and you use a coordinated attack, will grant 1 stack of Demon's Oath. While Demon's Oath is active, Sword Demon combos deal 12.5% increased damage. So while this is active, if you were to use another one of those skills, you deal more damage. And entering Soul Bond clears the Demon Oath stacks. So whenever you use a combo that you use for or basically a coordinated attack, you generate one of these Demon Oaths stacks, or whatever you want to call them. And then the next follow-up attacks you use are going to generate more of them, and you're going to do increased damage. Now that's going to be important for another skill you're going to have. So you can see we kind of just take again Soul Bond skill, ult, we'll talk about it in a moment, but then, oh, hold on a minute. We stop here at Shadowblade Flash. You can see it is not a Soul Bond skill, but we do have it skilled as high as we can get it. What's the reason for that? Well, it does a massive amount of damage, but it also consumes all Demon's Oath stacks, and the higher number of stacks you have, the more damage it deals. This is, if you played Spectre, this is kind of like your Moonscar, where you're going to use this after you've pressed a couple of skills, but there is a caveat to it. To get the full benefit of this skill specifically, we got to go Inscriptions in a moment. So we're going to talk about them in just a second, but essentially you're going to build, and this is kind of your nuke that you're going to utilize. You're going to press this after you've gotten a couple of stacks of Demon's Oath, but this is going to get infinitely better when we talk about Inscriptions a little bit here. So moving on, we have Soul Crucifixion. Again, Soul Bond skill, just high damage Soul Bond skill, high damage Soul Bond skill, high damage Soul Bond skill. So what we're doing is we're essentially trying to, of course, build and spend Demon Synergy to be into Soul Bond, and then of course when we get a chance, we want to dump all of our stacks into Shadowblade Flash for massive damage. Now there's another skill we have here, Cross Strangle, that does not do anything just yet, but if you skill this and you go down to Skybreak Obliteration, you can see that it consumes all Demon Oath stacks I'm sorry, you can consume all demon stacks for more damage. So basically, you can turn it into something similar to Shadow Blade Flash. You can take Cross Strangle. Let's say you need to build or spend more of your stacks. You're like, oh, well, hey, look, this skill has a 30-something second cooldown. All of my skills build and spend Demon Synergy, so I'm likely going to have more stacks. I have to burn them into something else, and that's absolutely correct. You're going to want to skill into this pretty early on, and you're going to hold on to it for quite a while until. So to talk about the class, it means we also have to talk about inscriptions. And there is one inscription that makes a pretty massive difference for this class. So let's start talking about Superior Technique. So for Superior Technique, you gain everything from the earlier levels, of course. So like all class skills, blah, 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 blah. The usual things, right? Well, we'll go to the individual ones that matter. So at level 4, Demon Hunt gets 50% more damage. At level 7, Demon Synergy gained from sources other than basic attacks is doubled. So you're getting 25 Demon Synergy, you get 50 Demon Synergy, which is really, really nice. Means that in 2 skills you can have maxed on your, you can be maxed and on your way into Soulbond. And then Sword Demon's coordinated attack damage from skills is plus 50%. So your Sword Demon coordinated attack does more damage, not your skill, of course, but the Sword Demon. So it's like a 25% damage increase. It's only half of the skill itself, but you kind of get the idea here. And then at level 9, skills cast while Reflect Demon, which is like your Ultimate Awakening, is active, can also trigger Demon Control. When transformed skills consume Demon Synergy, their damage is plus 30%. So basically when you transform into the demon, you're able to also utilize that same bar. Normally when you're in the demon form, this bar is completely pointless. You actually use it at all. But when you're in demon form, you have this meter and you have your own skills. And you can see here that I forward to press all these skills. You can see it uses my meter itself. And then we can get a little bit more. And it actually interacts with the skill where normally it wouldn't interact with it at all. So let me clear this really fast. So pretty cool stuff. Oh, we're seeing inscriptions. My mistake. Again, keep an eye on this. I would mostly pay attention not to the percentage numbers because this can change, but specifically how it interacts with the kit. That likely will stay unless they decide to make some massive changes, but this is all subject to change. So keep that in mind as far as what we're looking at here. So that's what Superior Technique does for us. If we take a look at Extraordinary Technique, so Extraordinary Technique, of course, is going to give us increased damage. It's going to give us Umbral. So it gives Umbral Blade Storm, Reflected Demon, get lower cooldowns, increased damage. Reflected Demon's cooldown gets brought down, instant slash shadow damage gets increased damage. So basically our skills that we normally use, if we take a look at skills, right? So you see Reflected Demon's here. You see Umbral Blade Storm is here. We can see Twin Edge Assault is here. We can see basically we're getting damage buffs off of those skills. All right, just had to check on something really quick. Make sure, right? Yeah, but so basically you're getting damage buffs off of those skills. Your level 70 skill, your ultimates, your awakening, all that stuff is getting boosted, which is really, really nice. But it doesn't actually ultimately change how you utilize the class until you get to level 6. So level 6, when casting Reflected Demon and Umbral Blade Storm, which is your level, or your like Ultimate Awakening and your awakening, you gain 100 Demon Synergy. Umbral Blade Storm has a lower cooldown as well and has increased damage. Again, the percentage is not a big deal, but that's where the mechanic change happens, is when you press those skills, you now get basically a full bar of Demon Synergy to go ahead and utilize. So you can use this as a reset. Let's say, for example, you get up to 100, you use a couple of skills, it burns it all the way down. You can then press your ult to get a reset to get your Demon Synergy right back up again to burn on another set of skills. So it's really, really cool how that works out. It's actually really fun to utilize. So that's pretty cool. But that's not where things get crazy. It's funny how we went through Extraordinary Technique, we went through Superior Technique, but where it actually gets crazy is Transcendent Technique. So the Transcendent Technique works is does nothing until level 9. It's pretty normal. All the skill, like basically you get percentage increased damage, blah, 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 blah. But at level 9, when gaining 3 stacks of Demon's Oath, which, you know, the way you gain Demon's Oath is you utilize a coordinated skill while you're in Soulbond. When you gain 3 stacks of Demon's Oath, you reset the cooldown of Shadow Blade and increases damage by 100%. So this is where I mentioned beforehand, where this is essentially kind of, for those who've played Spectre, this is basically kind of your Moonscar, because this is going to cause your Shadow Blade Flash to hit like a truck. It's also going to mean that you do not need to run, in my opinion, you don't need to run 2 of these skills. So you don't have to run Cross Strangle to be able to get a lot of use case out of your Shadow Blade Flashes. for example, I think I got about, in my best test, I got about 9 Shadow Blade flashes off in a minute and a half. And as you can see, Shadow Blade Flash's cooldown, if we take a look at it, is 35 seconds. So you can get quite a few of these. Now, granted, that was with the clock set. I think with the with Divinity, I got 7. So still very, very good overall. But you will get a lot of Shadow Blade flashes, and this thing hits like a truck. And based on the way that we have, you know, of course, our skill setup and everything else, you're basically always going to have at the very least 3 stacks to be able to get your Shadow Blade flash off and to do tons and tons and tons and tons of damage. That's going to be basically your loop. You're going to be trying to build your demon synergy to go into your soul bond. You're going to make sure that at the very least, before you start doing anything, the Shadow Blade flash is on cooldown. You burn some of your skills for your coordinated attacks, and the moment it resets your Shadow Blade flash, you're popping it to go ahead and put it back on cooldown, do a ton of damage, and burn those stacks. And then you're going right back into what you're doing beforehand, building demon synergy and spending it to deal as much damage as possible. This is what I'm seeing a lot of people really not actually go into, is a Shadow Blade flash situation. Now, again, it is worth mentioning, this isn't an Inscription. So it's possible this could change. They could go with something different for Transcendent Technique, but this is really, really huge for Karmaslayer. This is going to be your biggest damage. It's basically putting 100% increased damage on your biggest hit. If you're looking at any of your skills, right? Like, so if you're looking at, oh, you know, where's my damage coming from? Like, where it is Shadow Blade Flash. It's your level 50 skill. If anything increases your level 50 skill, you want it. As you can see, I think I have, what, 9 points into this, and I have plus 10 on this. So it's 19 out of 10. Whenever I can get this any higher, I'm going to push it higher as well. This isn't the highest percentage of my skills, right? It's only 8,800. My higher percentage is something like, you know, Instant Slash Shadow and Demon Hunt, which these abilities also get buffed, by the way, by your inscriptions. But you can see these already have very, very high percentages. This is also getting a massive damage bump as well. So like your biggest hits are going to realistically be your Shadow Blade Flashes, your Demon's Hunts, and your Instant Slash Shadows. These are going to be kind of your big tickets. So essentially, we're a class that benefits from the higher level skills, dealing more damage, not the lower level skills. So we're not a fundamentals class. We do benefit from the higher level skills. So things like advanced are going to help out. Oh, this is insignias, I'm sorry. But things like advanced skill will help out for our overall damage. But again, it is just damage overall. It is not going to be anything mechanic-wise that's going to change how the class works. That's pretty much it. Build, spend, pop your flashes as quickly and often as you possibly can. And whether you're playing within Divinity or you're playing within Sunflame, either one of those works. Don't play Demonic. I tried it. Demonic is still trash. It's still really bad. It's even worse in raids, in my opinion. So some people have the argument of, you know, Divinity is good in Fleece, but in raids, Sunflame feels way better. I can totally see that being the case. They are very close from my personal testing, but again, subject to change. They could possibly change this as we move along. That's pretty much it, guys. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments. If there's anything you've seen or you're curious about me testing, like I said, I'm going to be going through and essentially trying to do everything I can over on the public test server for you guys over the next couple of days, while we all eagerly await swapping our main characters into the beautiful, the lovely Karmaslayer. And I'm sure you guys are probably like, dude, the cosmetics. Yeah, the cosmetics. Cosmetics are pretty cool. We'll talk about those in another video. Either way, thanks for watching all the way to the end, guys. Thank you to my channel members as well as our Patreon members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate every single one of you. You guys make it so I'm able to continue doing this every single day, and I love you for it. And that's pretty much it. I'm yapping. Take care, my friends. Peace out.